So I started using speed when I was about 11, 12 years old. You know, when someone's got nothing to lose, you do anything. And that was me. I was a young one that would just be down for anything. Like, to living my best life, if I died high, I'm happy.
Like, surely at this stage, you have some realizations going on.
Not yet. But I got just as twisted on cocaine than I did off ice. I jumped off the roof 3 stories up when I was about 18 and tried taking my own life. That's when I flicked my switch. I'll never do anything in my old life ever again, I promise.
You're tuned into the Better Bloke podcast. I'm Matty.
And I'm Rob.
We're just a couple of average blokes who started a charity with one simple mission: to fuck off suicide as the leading cause of death for Aussie men our own age.
We talk shit, ask the big questions, and chat with guests that have been through the ringer and have come out the other side with a story that's worth hearing.
Some episodes will hit you in the feels, some will fire you up, and others will just give you a laugh and remind you you're not the only one out there winging it.
We also run events, connect with the pros, and build communities, all with one goal: build better blokes without all that fluff.
All right, let's get stuck in.
We are joined today by someone who is much more than just big muscles and an online persona. He's come through adversity and he's got a story worth telling, so why not get him on the couch to tell that story?
Fucking earth.
Welcome,
happy
Darcy.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. It's mad.
Who is DRC Fit?
DRC is not Dr. C. Everyone thinks it's Dr. C, and don't take medical advice off me. I was self-medicated with like meth, cocaine, and Xanax my whole life, so not the best advice. But
Not great prescriptions.
no, not the best, but that was self-medication, which is right. But DRC, that's Darcy Fit, and that's who I am, and my whole like persona and everything I do. Well, not my persona, but who I am is just I'm sober over 7 years now, and I'm just trying to raise awareness around addiction and give people hope that anyone can change, and that addiction doesn't. It is a struggle, but you don't have to struggle forever. You know, there's this massive persona around addicts. So you're a long-term recovering addict, and they've always got to struggle. Like, they're always in a bad place. Like, even at like NA meetings, all that sort of stuff helps a lot of people. But they all go and talk about just getting through their day, and it's just such a battle. And I believe as an addict, when you go all in on something, you can become your best, like I've done. Like when I went all in with drugs and alcohol, I put that before my family. I put that before my happiness. Everything I loved got destroyed because drugs and alcohol. I put that first. You know, that was my passion. Like crime, drugs, alcohol, and that's where I went. That's where I went all in. So if I put that energy into being my best and doing everything I do now, I've become the best version of myself. And that's what I'm trying to show people, that addicts don't have to struggle forever. If addicts go all in, or anyone's struggling, even this weekend parties that are struggling during the week, they lose their family, but you can rebuild a life that you're proud of. And that's what I'm a testament to. And if I can do it, anyone can do it. And that's why I'm just trying to get my message out there and help as many people as I can to sort of break the stigma around addicts and addiction and drugs. You have to struggle forever if that's your past.
I want to jump into how you pulled yourself out in a little bit.
Yeah.
But let's talk into sort of some of the stuff that led you down that path. Was it sort of early teen years or mid-teen years, whatever? Was it the bad crowds? Was it things that had happened? How do you feel like you started?
Yeah, so I was the fat kid in school. So I was bullied as a kid. So I grew up in school not thinking I was enough. You know, I sat on lunch times eating my lunch by myself, and I was isolated at a very young age through primary school. So that's when I grew up and just not having friends, not being able to go to sleepovers, and not wanting to go to discos, and not wanting to go to school in general, because I was just always alienated. I was isolated. And then same thing with school, and then also sport carnivals, swimming carnivals. I never wanted to participate in anything because, one, I would always come last. 2, I wouldn't feel like I belong there. And then 3, I feel like a failure because I'm always last at every sporting event. Always didn't want to, even when I would go to a swimming event or something, I didn't want to take my shirt off. I didn't want to swim because I didn't want my shirts, or even when I had a shirt on, to be stuck to my stomach. So all the other kids see I'm fat. I was a very insecure kid. So, and when I didn't do sporting, and when I didn't want to go to school, I didn't want to participate in all these stuff, I got in trouble. You know, like I was told to, you know, you got to participate. Okay, even though I'm going through hell, I don't want to be here. You know, I don't want to take my shirt off. I don't want other kids to see me. I don't want to come last. Okay, and then I was punished for that. So that's when I sort of got a bad relationship with authority. So teachers, even my parents, okay, people, and then later down the track, police, things like that. And when I didn't want to do things because I was uncomfortable, I got in trouble for that. So in primary school, I was always, as I said, I was alienated, I was alone, and I just didn't feel like I was enough. So growing up, I didn't have friends. I didn't have, like, I'd just go home and play games and just eat shit, and then I got real fat, and that was my comfort. So that was all through primary school. And then leading into high school, same thing. Like people go into high school and they've got their sport, like their like football teams, or they've got their like their group. They go into, oh, what high school are you going to? Oh yeah, me too. Let's, you got that whole little community. I went in there alone. You know what I mean? I'm the fat kid in year 8, is fucking hating myself, isolated again in a bigger environment with older people around me, and that's when obviously girls are there and things like this. And yet again, I felt 10 times bad, because that's when you'd really start questioning your worth. Like, am I enough?
With you, like being an overweight kid, do you play any sport or anything when you
No,
were a kid? Or
I played soccer, did a bit of taekwondo when I was young for self-defense, but I did that on like Tuesday, Thursday nights, and my mum made us do it. And then I would go do that, but then other team events, no way. I just didn't, I was always not picked. They wouldn't pass me the ball. So I hated it. I didn't want to go. I would kick a tantrum. I wouldn't go to sports. I did taekwondo when I was young for a couple of years, like self-defense. But then same thing. I'll just go binge eat in the afternoons. I was still isolated. It wasn't really a big community thing. And then, as I said, going into high school, like I was alone. So how I sort of fell into the trap of going down the path of like crime and all that sort of shit and drugs was the kids I did fit in with were the ones having ciggies down the back oval, were the ones that were playing up in class, were the kids that were the outcasts, the kids that didn't have any, like, anything like that, because they didn't judge me for who I was. It was the sporting boys, it was the jocks, it was the girls, they all judged me because I was overweight and I had braces and, I was an insecure kid, but I did not get judged by this other group. And that's when I started to make friends because, little things like even just playing up in class with a mate that you sit next to, and like I build friends by being bad, by doing the wrong thing. And same thing with going down the back over, you want to come down for a smoke? I'm like, fucking sweet. See, that connection that I had with that person, like my first friend in year 8, he was down the back over, we were smoking every day together, and then
you found that sort of community.
I found a friend. Yeah, but the thing is, I'm sitting there having a cigarette and having a laugh out the back over with a mate. I've never had a laugh with a mate for my whole my years.
That's hard for a kid. How do you say no to a friend?
No.
Right? If you're dealing with all that stuff and the kid doesn't have like the mental capacity to know this grand situation going on.
100%. That's like all these kids that are stealing cars and like, now this is the life I got involved in because they're a part of something. In success or in school or anything else, sporting teams, they're not accepted. And that's when I found these friends. That's what I mean. That's when I dedicated my life to doing bad things because I made a friend, and me having a simple laugh and a conversation with a friend, I put that over my school. I didn't care about school. I didn't care about my life. I had a friend. I was having happiness. And I didn't care about my family either. I took my family for granted. I come from a good home. Mum and dad are together until mum passed recently, but my mum and dad were together and they always looked out for me. But I went down this bad path because I valued friends, and this circle I fell into was more important than my family and then my schooling and everything. So, starting year 8, I started like smoking weed, drinking on weekends, and that's like getting invited to hey, do you want to come over to my place on the weekend? We're having some drinks. I'm like, yeah, I've never been to a sleepover, I've never had a mate. I'm like, yeah, let's go, like fucking sweet. I was excited, I was nervous, and then I fell in with this crowd, and then obviously my mates' older brothers were like fucking jailbirds, junkies, crackheads, like old school lads. Like I fell into like the Eshe. Fell into the lad culture. I was young, and that's what I fell into that on weekends, drinking with them. And then schooling, didn't give a fuck, wagged school pretty much every day, got in fights, suspended, because obviously when I started hanging around these other boys, I wanted to prove myself to the older boys, which was the older brothers who were the drink ups, and I'm like, they were my idols, like they were my role models. Like my mum and dad, like dad's built a great humans, but I wanted to be these guys because they're not feared. Like my whole childhood when I was in obviously prime school, I was a victim. You know what I mean? I was bullied. I was a victim. I was a fat kid. I was isolated, and I felt no power. I felt weak. So when I fell in with these crew and these older boys, and they sort of took me under my wing, I wanted to prove myself. So that's when I'll do anything, and that's when we started getting in fights and stuff. And I said to myself when I was in that, I said, I'm never going to be a victim again. I'm going to prove myself. And, when someone's got nothing to lose, you do anything. And that was me. I was a young one that would just be down for anything, like robberies, everything like that, like armed robberies, break-in enters, bottle runs, fucking all that sort of shit was just what I grew up doing. And obviously graffitiing, painting, I love graffiti. That's something where that's my whole culture. And then when I was with these guys, with these older boys, I wasn't a victim anymore. I was strong. I felt 8 feet tall. You know what I mean? I wasn't a victim. So that's when I was with them every weekend. Then obviously around 11, 12 years old, they started introducing me to speed. So I started using speed when I was about 11, 12 years old. They started to give me little bits on the end of a note or a Talio bomb where you put a bit, speed. Like old school speed, not before ice came in. So I was eating little speedballs, and I'll just fucking, because they hand me whatever they hand me. If they would have handed me a fucking needle full of heroin, I would have done it. You know, if they would have said do this, I would have said yep, done. You know, same thing with crime. And that's when I started using drugs every weekend. So every weekend was just fucking get on the speed and just fucking stay awake all weekend, go painting, go graffitiing, go fighting, go breaking enters, just earns. And then obviously my schooling went to shit. So I was expelled from 3 schools at the start of year 9. So I was just always in trouble, fighting, always just went down the rebel. I went just all in on being a rebel, like all in to just pretty much destroy my life. But I was a bad kid, and that was my persona. I was actually noticed, you know, I was accepted, and people knew who I was because of this.
Do you ever look back at like those older guys that you were hanging around with when they were handing you everything, just going like, fuck, they were proper grubs?
Yeah.
They were
Yeah. Oh,
actually
that,
good.
it's, yeah, I say,
Like,
yeah.
I know it's the
but-
time, yeah. But
Yeah, yeah. But that's just the whole culture I was in. I was just a young kid, and it was like I was their little apprentice, you know, like I would go with the older boys, and these boys are like mid to late 20s, and I'm fucking 11, 12 years old hanging around these older boys, like, and they were in and out of jail. Like I've been there in the room when they're all shooting up and everything like that. That was my whole like upbringing. I'll just go out, hang out with them. And even my mates, like I was the king of the younger boys, because the older boys accepted me because I was always down for anything. The other boys would go home to their families, and I wasn't going home at this point. Like once I got expelled from 3 schools, it wasn't hardly home. Like I was always running away from home, and I was just like away, just rock up there, have a shower a couple of days, and go back out and keep doing my thing. And then I got to the point when obviously my mum or dad and all that were rocking up to houses I was at on the weekends, being like, where's our son Darcy? Because I'm not home for like 3 days. Like this is when I'm like 11, 12, 13, 14, like mum and dad not knowing where I am. And then when I was about probably 14, I ran away from home for good. So I was out on the streets, living in trap houses and like couch surfing, stealing to get by, just full dedicated, like full lad shit. Like just like for my earn, I'd go into like a Myers or David Jones bag racks, like fill up 2 bagfuls of Nautica Polos and pop beepers, and then go sell that for gear. And then I got more gear, and then I had like trap houses where everyone's using and shit all the time. And then that was my whole life. And I ran away from home. I think I was away from home for about 3-4 years. Mum and dad didn't see me. The only time they seen me was when mum would pick me up from the watch house, or that was literally the only time, you know. And then I was on the missing person list. My photos are up in shopping centres. Have you seen this kid? So I was like on the run. All my mates' houses were getting raided because of me and everything like this. So I was just full, and I obviously had charges and everything like that as well. So the only time mum really saw me was when she picked me up from watch house or when I had court. And that was it. And then I'll just, as soon as court's over, as soon as fucking, you know, she picks me up from the watch house, I'm straight back out the door. I didn't give a fuck. Like, I've robbed my family. I've stolen my little brother. My little brother would get like an Xbox for Christmas. So I'll go home off the streets. I'll steal the Xbox, go sell it for drugs, go through a wallet, go through my grandma's wallet for money for drugs, 50, $100, whatever's in there is mine. Then I'll go, like, it's putrid, but that was my life.
It's very much a cycle thing. So like the older boys, I'm sure they kind of went through a similar thing to get there.
Yeah.
I think it's similar to what's going on with this Andrew Tate and all these young kids, right? So there's kids that essentially are a bit lost. They're lacking the identity.
Yeah.
Which is what you
They want to
had,
purpose. They want
right?
that, yeah.
So when that person pops into their life, whether it be those guys that came into your life at 12 or these people on the internet, if what they're saying resonates with the guy, and as much as we don't like the word, it's vulnerability. Like an 11-year-old that's got no identity and
100%.
he's not feeling like he's fitting in, that's a vulnerable sort of kid.
Yeah.
So whatever messages are there for him, that's the direction he's going to go down.
100%. His influence in your circle, everything like that has a massive impact on it. And then that whole life just took over everything. Like I didn't see, as I said, didn't care about my family. I had in that period, I had my cousin overdose and died from heroin. He had a heroin overdose. He died. Literally, mum picked me up. I got picked up from the watch house, and then mum literally said in the car, like, your cousin's dead. And I'm like, fucking, funeral's tomorrow.
That's something I wanted to ask about because living this sort of lifestyle, you would have seen suicides, ODs,
100%.
people getting locked up, all that bad stuff.
Yeah.
What was that like to deal with?
Oh, it's full on, but it was normal. Like I've been in a room with someone shooting up and they've overdosed in front of me. Like they literally had a shot. They just went boom, sat back, and then, but we all just left because we were just like cops. We just called the cops and we called the ambulance and then left the house because I had charges. I had like warrants for my arrest, so I couldn't be there. But I watched someone overdose in front of me. I had close men's one of the older lads that took me in, put a roof over my head. Like me and him would go steal together, do everything together. He was like my older brother. He hung himself. I went to see a bird, but he was real bad on the ice. and in and out of jail, and then it just got too much to him, and he literally hung himself outside the house that the baby mama lived in, just for like to prove a point. So it's hard. It's very hard. I've lost many people. Even when I was older, I started getting in the cocaine world of people overdose from just going to sleep and eating Xannies to go to bed, and they never wake up. You know.
And when you're living it, do you think that could be me, or you don't care about it, or you think it won't happen to you?
I didn't care. In my mindset and everything I had, if to living my best life, if I died high, I'm happy. That was my whole mentality. Yeah,
happy with that.
I was happy to die. I thought, I'm living my life as long as I die high, doing something I love, which is graffiti, fighting, fucking anything like that. If I die off my head, I'm fucking, that's me living my life. That was my whole mentality. I didn't care about my future. I didn't care about tomorrow. I cared for my next high. Like, I was a daily user. Like, I was stealing the use every day. I would go back to back. I would stay awake 7 to 10 days. Then my body was shut down on the couch in some trap house. I'd wake back up, go steal shit, get on again, and keep going for like 4 or 5 years. And that was when I was using ice and started smoking ice. That was the ice pipe was my thing. I wasn't really into needles. I'm fucking not really into needles. I can't do the whole drawing blood. I've shot people up. Like, I'd be in the room where I used to shoot mates up in their neck and everything like that. That was my whole, like, that was normal. I fucking hated doing it, but it was just that was the whole culture I was in. It was either you shot up or you smoked ice. That was the whole culture. And then after years using ice and shit, and then I got to the point when it was like I was about 18, started seeing a bird and shit, like this fucking cracked out thing. And anyway, we got in a relationship, and then once I started seeing her, I started to stop using during the week, and I would just smoke pipes on the weekend, and I'd smoke weed during the week, you know, and I would just like, well, I got comfortable, and then I started to put all weight on again. So I started to get fat again because we'll just eat smoke cones and binge eat shit all week, just living off Centrelink and shit. And then on the weekends, we'll get a couple of points of gear, and let's just start smoking gear and just go sit in some trap house and get off our head. But I could function on it, I could eat on it. So when I get off my head, I could still go to Macca's drive-through and get a feed. Like, I could still eat, but I was just binge eating shit food during the week. And then I put all this weight back on without noticing. And then PTSD from back when I was a kid again, I'm fat again. And then also, I'm not hanging out with the lads. I see them going to do earns during the week. When I see them on the weekends, like, bro, I went on this mad earn, boom, the jewelry and fucking like cash they got from this place or whatever. And well, they go start painting and go do some panels or go do a piece, and I wasn't there. And then I felt like I was disconnecting from my mates. And then I'm like, well, fuck this. I'm like, I've dumped her. I'm going to see you later. You know what I mean? I want to go back, be part of the boys again. And then obviously started just using every day again, like ice and everything like that, hanging out with the boys again. And then one night I was there drinking up down at Gilhooly's Chermside. You know, Gilhooly's pub at Chermside. Yeah, can't. So I was drinking down at Gill. I thought you would know it was Gillies. But anyway, I was drinking down at Gillies with a couple of lads and that, and then I was just fucking blind drunk. And then I found out a few of my old close mates that I was boys with, and these are the boys that I've stole for, fought for. Like, I was always the first in for a fight. If someone said something bad, I'll be the first in. If someone's got something without, I'll go steal to provide for someone. Like, that was who I was. That was my loyalty. And then I found out they were out with my ex-missus, hooking up with her and shit. And I was like, fucking dogs. And I was seeing red, and you know what I mean? I didn't know what to do. And then I just broke down crying, bro. And I guess when you're in amongst that scene, you're just using constantly every day. The depression doesn't hit you yet. The anxiety, the lows of it, you don't realize you're in addiction until everything's just, you realize how that moment where you're like, my life's fucked. You know, I was back fat again. You know what? My brothers stabbed me in the back. You know what? I haven't seen my family in years. I'm obviously going through a breakup as well. So that's like, that adds fuel to the fire. And then I was just like, fuck this. And I went to go see my parents who lived up the road, and I haven't seen them for years. You know what I mean? So rocked up at my mum and dad's house, just sitting out the front, just crying in the gutter, and I'm like, I can't face them. Like, what am I going to do? I'm adult.
Just like shame or something like that?
Yeah, I haven't seen them in years, and I'll come back to them when everything's falling apart, when, you know, they were always just trying to be there for me. I'm back, I'm just fat, I hate myself, I'm just a lot of emotions, obviously. And then something took me to go inside, and I said, I can't do it. And then I walked over to school, which is across the road from my mum and dad's house, where we used to drink up on the roofs when we were young. We used to go up there, sink piss, and get on it and shit, like up on the roofs, just like young kids and that. And I went up on the roof, and I was very obviously drunk, very, very drunk at the time. And I just thought, what's the point of me being here? And I was like, you know, all these mates that I love, but I did everything, stabbed me in the back. I can't face my family. I've let them down my whole life. They're better off without me. Like, what value have I got to their life? You know, and that's what everyone thinks when they're about to take their own life. The thing, well, everyone's better off without me. That's what we all keep telling ourselves. And then obviously I'm fat again. I'm PTSD from back there. I felt like I had no friends. All my trust was broken. I'm back fat again, all that sort of shit. Okay. And I just thought everything was better off without me. And I jumped off the roof 3 stories up when I was about 18 and tried taking my own life. And then I came to, I broke my foot. Like that's all that happened was broke my foot. So, and then I dragged myself home, which was across the road. And I was just crying out the front. And Mum came out the front. Dad getting what the fuck's happened. And I was told him everything. And they're just like, what the fuck? Like, they haven't seen me in years. And then I've just rocked up on the doorstep after I tried taking my own life. And then once I told them that, we sort of sat down, and I was a mess for a couple of days, obviously coming down. But there's a photo on my Instagram where I just looked fucked up. That was just a couple of days after I tried taking my own life. And that's when I sat there and we just came, I said, I'm done with this life. And I said, this is it. I'm going to change and I'm sorry. And obviously, you know, like no matter what I did, no matter how much I hurt my family, pushed them away, whatever, they still had the door open for me, you know, and that hurt. And I just said, I know what I'm going to change for you guys. And then the plan was I went with Dad, who was working over in Christchurch, doing rebuilds over there. So the plan was I obviously let my leg heal, my foot heal, I get better, and then I go over and work with him, just get away. You know, that was how I was going to get sober. And I did. So I went over to Christchurch, got sober over there, started exercising. You know, I dropped like 42 kilos. I was like 121 kilos when I tried taking my life. And then I got over there, I got down to 79 or something. So I dropped, 40, 50 kilos over there. And once I got over there, I was training. My head was clear. I was feeling good. You know, I was feeling great. I was like, fuck yeah, this is mad. But then obviously you get involved in social media, you know, and I didn't have socials because when I was younger and on the run all the time, I didn't want photos taken with me because I was always on the run. I didn't want socials because I think they're all tracking me and I think they'll know where I am. You know, I was full rebound.
That's a big difference between kids now that are doing that shit.
Yeah.
Like they're all doing it for clout now. So they're all over socials doing that.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. I wouldn't want to be near a phone, but if someone took a photo of me in a party or a gathering or when we're in a room, shit, I've bashed someone for doing it. Like just because I didn't want it because I was on the run. Like if I have photos here, they'll know where I am. Like full paranoia cunt. But anyway. So went over to Christchurch, got sober, got happy, got fucking lean. I had my abs out and shit. I was like, fuck yeah, I'm feeling mad. And then I just started getting back on social media. And then I started seeing like everyone's out night clubbing because this was around when I was like 18, 19. And I'd never been clubbing before. You know, my life was living in trap houses, like housing commission houses, like fucking everyone just sitting around smoking pipes, shooting up, just fucking doing everything and painting. Like that wasn't, and I was just like, oh fuck, I want to go back and show everyone, you know, look at me now, you know, like prove a point, you know. So I flew back, even the dad didn't want me to. I'm like, oh, I'm going now. And it was only a couple of months. I was over there 4 months, I think a bit less, or about 4 or 5 months. And then I came back and then landed back home, got a job. I was rendering as a labourer, rendering and shit. Like had a job. I was fucking working for fuck all. But anyway, I had a job, stability, and then started fucking just going to catch up with mates and just going out for a couple of drinks. You know, because alcohol is okay, it's not ice. You know, alcohol is okay, it's not meth.
Just to interject quickly, so just because you make the decision that you're going to get clean and all that stuff,
yeah,
you still had charges and all that, right?
Yeah, I had like juvenile charges. I didn't have anything else.
So once you turned 18,
yeah,
it's kind of good?
Nah, I went down another bad path.
But I mean charge-wise, so like...
I got way more charges after that.
Sorry, but like when you got back from New Zealand, or even flying to New Zealand, they're not pulling you up at the airport.
No. There were juvenile charges, suspended sentences, like bail. So like when you're a kid, you get slap on the wrist every time. I went to court probably about 10, 15 times. Slap on the wrist, good behaviour, you know.
Go do a diversion course.
Yeah, it's a diversion course.
With everyone else that's doing the same.
Yeah, it's kind of, yeah, you meet more people the exact same.
Allegedly.
Alleged. Yeah, but that's the exact thing. You get slap on the wrist. So all my childhood charges, like they're all on my sheet. I've put my sheet up on my Instagram and shit. I got fucking hundreds of charges, but it's just like, even for like assaulting police and robberies and all this sort of shit, you know, see you later, get out of jail free card. I never really got punished until later when I actually went to jail, when they did, like, obviously I ticked up a lot of fucking charges. But when I went over to New Zealand, I came back and it was just a clean state.
So back into it.
Yeah. No,
the boys were out drinking.
Yeah. So but that's what I did. I fell back, but then a couple of drinks to me is okay because alcohol is never my problem. You know, alcohol isn't what pushed me to the point where I wanted to take my own life. It was speed and meth. So if it wasn't speed and meth, it's okay because everyone's out drinking. You know, you see people in nightclubs, people out drinking all the time. The whole culture we live in is alcohol's okay. You know what I mean? And that's what I assumed. I'm like, yeah, alcohol's sweet. And obviously out drinking every weekend, and I'll go out one night and I had the best time. You know, I had the best time. And that's when I was like, fuck, this is mad, you know. And I went to work on Monday and justified it because I was working. So then, you know, Friday would come around, start drinking, obviously start getting on the rack, start eating some pingers, like that all gets introduced. I had mates that were going out, that were selling pills, but I met people out. So I met fucking all these people that are in Ralph Lauren button-ups and Louis Vuitton belts, and they got the booth and all this sort of shit. And I'm used to living in a fucking trap house, cunt. So this is, to me, this is okay, you know. But then Friday turned into Friday, Saturday night going out, you know, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday sessions, work on Monday. And then obviously the old me started coming back and you started using more and more. And then it was just like pre-drinks on a Friday, it would just be lines at mine. I started snorting rack at mine. And that's when I started selling rack. So I started obviously selling pills first, because I'd go out to nightclubs with a few boys of mine, they were selling pills, and I had always, once I knew a lot of people out, you know, and everyone knew who I was, so they'd come up, oh, can you get us a couple of pills? And then I'd have to go to my mate, you know, get 5 pills and then charge these cunts for 6 and make them get one for me, sort of thing. And then I was the middleman the whole time, and then I was just like, fuck this, I'm going to get my own pills, you know? So I went out with started off with just like a 10-pack, you know, I sold them in like fucking 2 minutes. You know, I had this cash, I went and bought drinks, had a free night out. And I'm like, man, you know, I've saved all my money during the week from work. I've got cash here for my weekends. Free weekends, you know, justified because I wasn't spending money. You know, so we justify little things like, oh, because I'm not spending money. I'm working full time. I've got a job. It's okay, you know, but I was struggling every day. I stopped going to gym as much. I didn't train on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You know, my gym fell off. All little things fall off because you start justifying things, but you don't look at all the little things that are going to start to slip around your life, your lifestyle, waking up happy. Mondays are never the same, okay? Stop going to gym Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Stop having the motivation to wake up on time, snoozing alarms, late to work. It just trickles back.
Did that automatically then fuck with your head again? Started putting you back in that frame of mind where you started going like, shit, I'm not doing what I was doing to get out of this originally. And
no, because I just wanted to use more. I was just looking forward to my weekend, bro, like everyone does. Like when you're stuck in a slump during the week, 99%, well, most of the people, when you're stuck in a slump during the week, most people are just looking forward for that Friday beer, are looking forward to that Friday bag. So their week struggles is normal. It's normal struggle. I've had a big day at work. It's got nothing to do with fucking work, bro. You got onto a weekend, you know what I mean? And it trickles into the week, and that's was the cycle I was in, and I was just out all weekend bendering. Then after that, I started selling a bit more gear, started selling more pills, making more money, started selling rack because I was using a lot of rack. So I was like, oh, this is supporting my habit now. So I justified it because if I sell this, all this profit here, that's mine to use, and I get a free weekend again. So started using rack more and more, and obviously having lines on a Thursday night, you know, creeping in, not going to work on Friday, things like that, and long weekends. But I justified it because I still had money. You know what I mean? So then that's when I was like, when I'm making like a couple of grand a weekend, right? I'll go out, sell bags, sell pills. I'll come home with fucking wad of cash, bro. I'm like, sweet ass. You know what? And then, so that's when I quit my job. You know, I quit my job. I was like, fuck, I don't need to work, you know? And that's when I started just obviously snorting rack at home, like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then I was selling a fair bit. So I even stopped going out. Like I was going out for all the attention and all fucking going out to have fun. Then over time, when you start using more and more, you get paranoid, you get anxious. You know, I just had the boys over on Friday night snorting lines at mine, but we'll have chats and that, and they'll go and I'll just keep snorting rack in my room all weekend, selling gear. I just started selling and snorting rack. You know, the whole fun and going out and partying and free weekends, it was just free nights at home because I'll just start snorting all my profit, you know? And then
rule number 5.
Yeah, don't touch your profit. Yeah, 100%.
Get high on your own supply.
Yeah, 100%. I fucked that right up. But I never sold drugs to make money.
Yeah.
I sold drugs to use. I sold drugs for a free weekend. I sold drugs to make so I can use it myself. It was never about buying a house or, you know, flushing money in a laundromat. And I haven't got fucking time for that. You know, I just wanted to get off my head and have times with mates and fucking. But the times with mates even stopped because I didn't want my mates coming over because I would start to wig out. Like they'll come over and I'll be racking up for Thursday, Friday night, and they come over on Friday night and I'm already a day old, and then I'll be wigging out and they'll try to have a conversation with me and I'll just like be mute and I'll be like, hey guys, I think it's time to go, I'm feeling real tired, you know, and they'll leave and I'll just keep snorting rack all weekend by myself.
Is that what got you locked up?
No, I got into a fair few fights then when I was out, so nightclubs and shit like that, same thing. I didn't have that victim mentality. So like from one of my assaults, like a guy spat on me, and then I just bashed him. In the paper, it says, when I got charged, it says it was a one coward punch, one hit. He spat at me and I bashed him. It wasn't fucking anyway, that's the media. But I had assaults and then I got raided shortly after for drugs. But that was before that. My mum sat me, my brother and my dad down when I wasn't working and stuff, and she sat us all down and she told us she had terminal cancer. So she got myelofibrosis, which is like a rare form of leukemia. It's like a blood cancer. And it's like 1 in 400,000. So it's like, you can't do anything about it. And obviously it was like a 7-year 7-year thing, and she sat us down like, look, we just got to get through this together. I just found out she just got diagnosed and sat down. I think part of her sitting us down so early on was to sort of wake me up and say, look, like, I've got cancer, like, we need you to start pulling your head in. Because I was at home at this point, just using in my room, you know. Mum would come down, I'll be black eyes, like, you know, but same thing. I'm like, I got money, you know what? She's like, fine. And my mum grew up sort of being the cool auntie. So she looked after my cousin that overdosed on heroin. And I had another cousin of mine who was bad on the ice. And they would always confide in my mum, because my mum was just like, she was the best. And like, she'd be the cool auntie that they'd always speak to. And she could see, she knows, she's not dumb. My mum's so smart. So I thought I was hiding it, you know, but, you know, she'd come down, there's like rack on the bench and like all my notes are rolled up and like, she's not dumb. You know what I mean? She'd like, when I was selling gear, I'd sell it out of the front letterbox at home. You know, you should randomly, like some days I'd go out and there's meant to be like $2,000 in there, you know, and there's no money. And then I'm like, Mum was doing the gardening like 10 minutes ago. I'm like, Mum, did you get any money out of the letterbox? And she's like, I don't know what money you're talking about. And I'm like, fuck. All right. And I wouldn't argue. I'm like, all right, sweet, cop that as a loss. So I was selling a couple of ockers a week. So I was like, that money didn't really matter to me. But still, anyway, she knew and wasn't dumb. So when she sat us down and told us she had cancer and that, it was just like, you know, how I should dealt with it is like, okay, I'll be there for my family now, you know. But how I always dealt with things was numb it. You know, if it was a negative feeling, if I felt negative feels, I'd escape it. I'd numb myself. That was how I cured everything. That's how it fixed me to making friends. How it fixed any negative situation was to use. You know, so that's what even with my cousin's funeral, when I had a few tears at his funeral, and straight after my cousin's funeral, I went and got off my head. That was my solution to everything. And it worked for a long time. When I was numb, I assumed I was happy. You know, when you're numb, you feel like you're happy, but when you're numb, you're fucking numb. It just numbs you. You're not waking up happy. You need to use something to make you happy. That's not happiness. And that's what we think fun is. So my whole life with drugs was fun. It was happiness. It was the cure, you know. And then that's when obviously I started using. And then when Mum told us, I started using heavily. I just went downstairs. I had a couple of ounces in my room and I just started snorting fucking heaps of rack. And I started using every day. Like, I'm talking like pump. I used to smack like gram lines of pure, just like one go just to warm me up. Like, I started using a lot. I was snorting over an ounce a week, just myself, just sitting in my room all the time, not sleeping all week. And then my body will shut down. I'll wake up, I'll keep going. And the only time I'll leave my room was to go to a deal down at the pub so I can have a few fucking slaps on the pokies and then come home because I need to get home. You know, I'll just be wigging out in the yard with fucking knuckle dusters and a bat, like, can't chill the fuck out. You know what I mean? But that was that. And then obviously over time, Mum's like, what are you doing with your life? Dad's like, what are you doing with your life? And same thing. I'm like, fucking stop telling me what to do. I'm sweet. I've got money. And that's how I always justified it, because I have money. You know, I don't need to work. And like, that's the thing. You need to get a job. You need to start doing something in your life. I'm like, I'm fucking sweet. Look, I've got cash here. What, you don't want to pay for rent? I'll pay for the next year. I'll give you $5,000. You know, and she's like, it's not about the fucking money. I'm like, whatever. And that's when you just start pushing people away because you're in denial. You know what I mean? As an addict, you isolate. You know, and that's what I did. I isolated myself from the room. I pushed away my close friends. I pushed away my family. But when Mum and Dad keep coming at me saying, you need to get tight, you need to start doing something in life, what are you doing? What are you doing? I'm like, fuck off. And that's when I moved out of home. You know, I went and got a penthouse with a mate. So I had heaps of money. So I went and got a penthouse with a mate, moved in there. And that was probably the fucking baddest decision I made. That was just like a trap house, bro. Like, we were just using it every day. I didn't even leave that apartment. It was just, we lived near the casino. So the only time I'd leave was to go to the Cass at like 1 a.m. when I'm bored. And we're using every day there. And at this point, I'm snorting heaps of rack and eating heaps of Valiums and Xannies to level me out, because I'd have a line. Like, the amount of times I've overdosed and taken myself to hospital because I thought I was overdosing, and I was just off my head. I was driving to the hospital off my head. I like tracking my heart rate. And you know when your doctor Google something? And it's like, you're going to fucking die. And I'm like, fuck. And then start panic attacks. And then you look up like what happens when you take fucking, you know, cocaine with Valiums and your heart collapses. That's what happens. And so I drive myself. They knew my name at the Prince Charles Hospital. You know, Prince Charles at Chermside. They knew my name there. So I went there and Darcy's having another panic attack. You know what? Blah, blah, blah. And then so I just started using every day. And then I was just in this trap house, penthouse, which was just a fucking drug den. We're just getting off our head, like squirting GHB in our mouth, snorting rack, fucking just, and it was just fucked. And then shortly after that, a mate came around because I was snorting so much rack, like my nose fucked out. Like, I got a deviated septum, my nose is fucked. You know what I mean? So I couldn't snort rack anymore. So I was like, fuck. And when I did snort rack, you know those salt solution things that the press up one and the salt solution comes out? So that was like my saving grace. So I'd squirt that up my face, and then I'd have these big scabs rip off the back of my face. And then it'd take me a few goes, and I'd feel it ripping, and I'm going to get it. And then I'd blow this ball of blood, like a little fucking, like that just comes out of my face. But then as soon as that ball of blood came out of my face, I'll go in and rack up a line and snort it, because then it goes straight in my bloodstream. That's my logic. And I'm just putting fucking cocaine in an open wound in my face, and it'll burn, but then I'll get off my head. I'm like, fuck yeah, it's straight in my bloodstream.
Logically, it probably does make sense, but it
It
doesn't
fucking
sound
works.
very fucking good for you.
It's not very good, but it worked. But then over time, my nose got fucked out, and I was eating so many Valiums. I was just like, I got real constipated, bro. Like, I got real bad constipation. I actually got rushed to emergency ward because I was so constipated. I didn't shit in like 7 days. I didn't piss. Like, my stomach was just so bloated, because when you eat Valiums and stuff like that, and I'm not drinking water, I'm not eating regularly, like, I got so constipated. So I had to go to the hospital in an ambulance off my head. I had a catheter put in the end of my dick, and like these tubes of gel put up my ass to loosen your bowels. And I'm there like shitting and pissing. Anyway, that's just another story.
Like you said, it always works until it doesn't.
Until it doesn't.
And now it sounds like we're getting to that point in the story where it's starting not to work. Surely at this stage, you have some realizations going on.
Not yet.
Still not yet.
And then I started smoking pipes again. So I got back at twice. Yeah, so because one of my mates who used to come around, he used to like smoke pipes in the bathroom, then come out and shit, and I didn't care. Like, I was like, go do it. I'm not using it. It's okay. But then when I wanted to get high, my whole theory of, you know, if it's not meth or ice, it's okay. Everything else was an okay thing to me, you know, because meth and ice, that's where I wanted to kill myself, you know, even though I was still having dark thoughts every fucking day sitting in that apartment by myself. Like, I looked off the balcony fucking 20 times.
Was that just because that one attempt that you took, you were on like meth and ice that one time, so you associated that with...
Yeah, but that didn't even make sense to me, because I was actually drunk when I did that, you know, but I got to that point because of meth and ice. My life fell apart because of meth and ice, not because I was drunk, you know, so that's when I saw it was just in your brain. You justify something to make you feel better about the wrong choices you're making, and it just makes you feel better. That's when people are in denial.
Yeah, and it's easy to look at it if you like say, so meth's the A grade stuff. So if I'm only fucking with the B and C
It's
grade,
fine.
It's fine.
Yeah.
There's people worse off.
That's what I mean. And then that's how it all went. But then as soon as I wanted to get high, I was in there smoking pipes. And bro, that first pipe, after not having it for so long, was the best thing I ever had. Like, that's not glorifying it, but I was like, fuck, I wasn't anxious. I didn't have to take Valiums anymore. These little other things I started justifying, because I was not anxious. The ice is cheaper, so I'm not going to spend all this money, because I was snorting a fuckload of pure coke. Like, I was snorting a lot of my profit. Like, all my profit was in my face. You know, I'll pay rent, the rest would be in my face, you know? Like, when people come over, I'll dump out like half an ounce, and everyone's like, hey, go hard, let's all party together, you know? Until I got real paranoid, I didn't even want people around me. But then I started smoking ice, and I'd have fucking conversations. I wasn't anxious, and I'm like, this is the best. So then I just started smoking ice every day, and I just got twisted. But I got just as twisted on cocaine than I did off ice. Anyone who says fucking cocaine's better than ice and shit, fucking bullshit. I've lived experience. I've experimented. Okay, I got my bachelor's in this shit. You know what I mean? So I got just as fucked on cocaine. So you can glorify it as much as you want. I got to my lowest of lows just the same on coke as I did on ice.
Well, they're both like... they're both an illicit substance, but you've got two separate things that everyone sees very differently, because you've got like cocaine. Everyone's like, oh, you know, it's a party thing. It's all this. Then you've got like meth and ice. You're like, oh no, it's just for crackies.
Junkie shit, yeah.
Yeah, but crack comes from crack cocaine.
Yeah, but like meth, crack,
So,
yeah.
But like
The extent you're using it though takes it away from the party thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely a different way people look at it. But that's because people don't go out and do a cheeky bit of meth on a Friday night.
Yeah.
Some people do.
Some, yeah.
I know like tons of people who...
You're from Bray Park. Of course you do.
All right, guilty. But no, it is. Like, it's not even though, like,
it's not acceptable.
They're two fucked things, but one is much more acceptable and, like, seen as a social okay.
Yeah.
Compared to the other, which is fucked.
And I know so many lives that are fucking ruined from cocaine, bro.
In your personal experience between the meth and the coke, was the addiction level similar?
But yeah, just as bad. See, when you're smoking pipes, you have a pipe and you're high for a bit, you're like, sweet, but cocaine, you need to have line after line. It's worse. You're using 10 times more. I was using 10. See, that's what I said. I was like, when I'm using ice, I use less, because I smoke a bit and I'm off my head for a bit and I'm distracted. Go smoke another bit of pipes, have a few 12s, go off again. But when it was rack, it was just one. And then as soon as that little would be go good for me, I'll have another one, half a Valium, another line. I'm pumping through fuckloads more cocaine. Okay, you watch someone who's snorting racket where you pump through a bag like this, bro. If you have a bag of ice, it'll just last you a couple of days. You know, but it's just, yeah, it's definitely the same. It's the same addiction level, but just the same. But it's even worse because it's so acceptable. Cocaine's so acceptable, so I believe it's worse. You know, at least like I believe it's way worse, to be honest.
Let's jump forward to when you got locked up.
Yeah. Okay. So went to I was in that apartment. I got raided. So I got raided, obviously, just selling drugs and shit. We got raided there. They found a fucking fair bit of gear. I was literally smoking a pipe on my bed when they walked through the door. So anyway, they found everything there. I got bail on that. Went up to Cairns, drove up to Cairns because a mate was up there doing errands. He said, come up here, just fucking do some errands with me. I'll put a roof over your head. Shit, because I was like, Ed just got out out on bail on those charges, and I was just wigging out on everyone and just shit like this. And my mates didn't want to talk to me because I was red hot. So I was like, fuck you cunts. And so I was in a bad way. And then I went up to Cairns.
Do you know what errands are, Matty?
I've picked it up in the course of this conversation.
I should have.
It's like go up, collect money, make money.
I get it. I get it. Bray Park things.
Yeah.
Let's not Bray Park. It's universal.
Yeah. So I went up there and I started getting a lot of fights up there. We're just collecting money. I got in a lot of fights. Did a bad assault up there where I hurt someone, and then left that nightclub after that. And then went back to the apartment, got raided there because they raided me for the assault. They literally followed me on cameras all the way back to the apartment. And then went into the watch house there, and then they're just like, you going to jail or you're on the bus? And I'm like, I'm not going on the bus because my whole life it was a slap on the wrist. See it, slap on the wrist. Even my previous raid that I was on bail for, charges and all that sort of shit on that, I got out on bail. I'm still bulletproof in my eyes. And then next minute I'm sitting on the bus on the way to jail. I'm like, fuck me, this is real now. That's when reality hits. And I've never been to jail. I was just like, I'm gonna get fucked in the ass here, cunt. What's going on? Like,
What was that feeling like with, you're walking around like you're king shit, you're big bad bloke.
I was
told you're going to jail. Was that like?
I didn't know it was real till I was sitting on the bus, and I was still coming down, bro. You know what I mean? I was still like half off my head when I was on the bus, but I didn't even think it was real. Then I'm on the bus, shackled up. I'm like, what the fucking little 2-man pod on the jail bus going in there? And that's when it sort of hit me. I'm like, fuck. And then my head's just doing miles. And as soon as you get in there, you get a phone call. I called mum. I'm like, hey, I'm up in jail up in Cairns because I got locked up in Cairns. And she's just like, what the fuck? And I haven't spoken to her for, I spoke to her. She sent me a message when I was on the run up there and like getting in fights and shit like this. So I was sitting in my car, had like a meltdown moment. There's that photo on my Instagram. I was crying. I was in my car, literally melted down my pipe, had my last little bit of fucking gear, and I had nothing. I had nowhere to go. I had no money to my name. And I got a message from mum just being like, no matter what, I love you. And, we've always got a room here for you. Your room's still here. And I just fucking broke. I didn't even reply to that message, bro. And then landed in jail, called mum. And then I went into the fucking unit, bro. I'm going into a big 100 man unit, bro, straight off the streets, ice out of my fucking head. I was nervous as fuck. I was scared, bro. I've never been like, you're not big and bad when you're in jail, but I don't care how big and bad you are. I was all cracked out then anyway. I was far from big and bad. But I was in there and I just fucking walked into a unit with 100 bros. I'm like, fuck, this is real. And then obviously went in there, just fucking started training and shit like that. Just started, just what I did to keep busy. I was out in the yard just cutting laps, burpees, chin-ups, dips, cut laps, burpees, chin-ups, dips. So I'd train for like probably 6 hours a day, bro, because I didn't want to I just wanted to keep my own because I'm like, fuck, everyone's in their own little gang. See, I don't know what happens in jail, bro. I'm like, I'm going to get outed. I'll just go outside, keep busy. If something happens, something happens. You know what I mean? And I just kept busy. And then once I just trained like a maniac, cunts come up to me. They're like, cunt, you go hard. I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm like, I'm coming down, bro. That's why I'm just into training for my head. And then they just like, oh, you want to come train with us? And then, see, I've sort of been accepted in a group in jail through exercise. So that's when I sort of found my love for exercise because met some boys in there, sat down, I'm eating lunch with these boys, and I made a few mates in there, and exercise got that. Something positive brought me into a group, and I felt safe. I felt like I was a part of a crew, and I'm like, fuck yeah, sweet, all right, I'm trained, and jail's going easy, So started training there, and then obviously when you're sitting in your cell at night, bro, all you do is think. Like when you're out busy in the yard, like training and shit, your head playing cards and that's all sweet. Then at night, every day, I just thought I'm going to miss my mum's funeral. You know what I mean? Because mum was in and out of like treatments and shit like that, and she wasn't in a good way. And so I'm just in there every night just thinking, You know, I look back and all you do in jail is reflect, bro. And I look back and I just think there was not one proud moment I've ever had with my mum or my dad or my family or anyone. I've never made them proud. Started using drugs at 11, ran away from home. Like through 11, 12, I was never home, you know, and then I ran away from home, slept on the streets, caught drugs, fucking crime my whole life. Even after, like when I worked for a little bit and then I got back on the drugs again, I'd fucking isolate myself, push them to the side and put them second again. You know, spat in their face time and time again. So I look back and I'm like, I've got no memories of my mum that I'm proud of. She's going to die and I've literally never made her proud, you know, and that was just going to eat me up. But then that's when I flicked my switch. That's when I said to myself and I promised myself in there that I'll never drink again. I promised mum on the phone, I promised her. I said I'll never drink again. I'll never use drugs again. I'll never fight again. I'll never do anything in my old life ever again, I promise. And I'll dedicate my life to making you proud. And at the start, as boy who cried wolf, obviously, as I lied through my teeth my whole life. Your words are nothing. Like when you lie time and time again, you break trust time and time again, your words are nothing. Actions need to happen. And in time, actions can build trust back. But it could take years, it could take months, it could take, who gives a fuck? But I was willing to sacrifice as much time as I can to make her proud. And I said to her in there, I said, if you're not here tomorrow, I love you, but I'm going to keep making you proud, you know. And that's when I started doing my cold showers in jail. That's when I started journaling. I started writing my feelings down, write down things in my cell. Before I got unlocked, I'd write down little things like, no matter what, today I'm going to make mum proud, and I'm going to do it. Even if she dies, I'm going to make mum proud. You know, I'm never going to let my family down again. I started planting those seeds every day, you know, and I started coming days thinking no matter what. And then I'll train, I'll call mum every day and I love you up, and she'll come up to visits and I'll look clear and healthy. And she's like, you look good, Darcy, you know, and I'm like, thank you, mate. I love you. You know, I'll cry at visits and I'll say, I love you heaps if I don't see you. And I mean, like, I'll keep making you proud. And then as days go by and now I woke up happier, you know, my mind has started to clear. I used to wake up and look forward to my cold shower and write down my list and going out to train. You know, I couldn't wait for the doors to be unlocked. And you see, I've gone from not loving my day-to-day life, my whole life. Waking up was a struggle. Waking up, I didn't want to wake up and face reality. I woke up and got high. That was my happiness. But now in jail, I'm waking up and I'm clear. I'm waking up and I'm actually happy without drugs. And I haven't been happy without drugs since I was 11 years old. So every day now I started waking up and I started to realize like all the little things I do every day, training every day till I fucking can't train anymore, doing my little journal in the morning, my cold showers. I started eating good in there. You know, I started, you know, eating right. I started training every day. And I started to wake up happier and happier. And in the back of my mind, when I started to feel real happiness, I'm like, I'm not going to lose this feeling. You know, and then every time mum would see me, she'd like, fuck, you look good. And she'd be happier and happier. And then when I got out of jail, I went and see mum and dad, and then it's like, you look fucking amazing. And that's what I said, mum, I'm never going back. I said, but when I got out of jail, I kept my routine. Okay, most people get out of jail and they lose their structure and routine. See, in jail, you wake up at the same time every day. The buzzer goes off. You make your bed every day. Okay, the doors get unlocked at the same time every day. You eat at the same time. You train at the same time. You go to bed at the same time. Structure and routine saved my life. Okay, if you see my Instagram when I throw my coffee on my face every morning, that's because I'm showing everyone I never break my routine. When I was in jail, I used to wake up and have my bushels coffee in my cold shower. So I'd have my cold shower, then I'd have my bushels warm with the hot water, and then I'll drink my bushels in the shower. That's where the coffee in the shower come from. You know, that's why I throw it on my face, and that's what I did every morning. So, and then I journaled. I did my meditations. Like I'll close my eyes and I'll think of this, like, I'll think of the pain I caused, which I've changed that now. I don't want to think of the pain anymore. But in there, I just think about every time I let mum down, like I'm never doing this again. You know, like I didn't have any, I couldn't close my eyes and imagine happy moments. I didn't have any, you know, so I'm just like, and then I thought of mum, I'll just think of mum in there. And then I kept doing that shit when I got out. I didn't let my routine. The day after I got out of jail, I didn't go party. I didn't go catch up with the boys and go strippers. I didn't go get a bag, go have a couple of drinks because Darcy's out. I went to work, bro. I woke up, same time. Okay, I woke up, started going to fucking gym every morning, started going for runs every morning, started training every morning. You know, things like that. And I started to build a routine out there. Then obviously I started working. I first started working in like a burger shop washing dishes when I moved down the coast to get away from Brisbane. Because I went to rehab here at Mirakai, you know, Mirakai here at Burleigh. There's a rehab just around the corner. So part of my bail conditions was get out to a rehab. So I went to the rehab, blah, blah, blah. And then kept in my routine there, just kept doing the same shit. And then working a job, got out of rehab, things like that. And then started working. Before I did PT or anything like that, I started just working in a burger shop washing dishes because I wasn't given a chance. You're not going to give me a chance. I had zero education, never finished school, just got out of jail, never done have anything on my resume. I worked for a renderer that would have gave me probably a shit reference because I was off my head at work and didn't show up half the time. So I had nothing. So I was like, fuck, I worked at a burger shop washing dishes over the weekends. During the week, I started labouring during the day, working fucking fuckloads of hours during the week to save up money. Did my PT course, things like that because I love fitness. And then started getting involved in the fitness world, started training and shit like that. And I just loved it because it was a passion, you know, like when you find something and you guys are passionate about the better blokes and helping people and like the blokes, when you see your stuff out there and helping people, men's mental health, it gives you a purpose, you know. So fitness and sort of training gave me my purpose and helping people like that. And then just started training and stuff like that. And then PTing, and then I became very successful as a PT. So I started a Good Life Chermside in Brisbane, you know, Chermy. Yeah, started there. And I don't know if you know PT numbers, but after 4 weeks working there, had 100 sessions booked. So I was like, by far, if you look at the numbers all over, I was the most successful trainer in Australia, if not the world, within 4 weeks. You know, there's no PTs doing that in those numbers. And I was back to back. I was in there early as fuck, waking up. I used to wake up at 1:15 every morning to walk to the gym because I had no license. Stayed in there from 2:30 in the morning coaching people all the way, left at 6 p.m. at night, came home. All my meal prep was done on the Sunday, went straight to bed, wake up in that grind. You know, and then over time, then when obviously seeing them started making some really good money, I was on like $6-7 grand a week, just PTing. And then I was just showing mum and dad, and they're just like, fucking, that was the first time mum and dad were like, I'm proud of you. You know, dad said it to me. Mum said it to me way before dad. And me and mum got very close. And then, you know, and I believe because I was doing good, the universe gave me more time with my mum. You know, I said goodbye to the phone. I said goodbye to my mum on the jail phone like 100, 200 times. You know what I mean? Like, goodbye. Not just, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Like, I love you, goodbye, you know, if I don't see ya. And then I got the universe sort of, I'm a big believer in that when you do good things happen, you know, good opportunities happen, things like that. And I believe the universe gave me time with mum and made mum proud, made dad proud. You know, dad started crying one day at the fire. It's like, no matter what, son, it's like, you know, that even with all this stuff going on through mum, your mum's super proud of you and we're both very happy and we're both very proud of you, you know, and that was like goal.
Because that took longer for your dad to say that, did that hit?
Oh, I cried, bro. Yeah, I cried like a girl, bro.
Because that's the one thing that, like, we speak to a lot of blokes and they'll come through all this adversity, and if they've come through and they've told us a story, or like we know them personally, we will pull them aside and like tell them, hey, like, I'm fucking proud of you.
Yeah.
And when you say those words to a bloke that has been grinding away at something,
yeah,
it hits
it's
like
deep,
nothing else.
Yeah. I tell all my clients, everyone the mentor now, because now I'm involved in, like, I help a lot of people with addiction now. Like, a part of my coaching and everything I do now, obviously I do training programs, meal plans, all that sort of stuff, because I've done the PT, the nutrition side of things. I know how to do that. And then I sort of brought it in the aspect of like helping people. I first started helping people online for free. Like when I was doing PT, and then I decided, obviously I met my wife along the way too, best fucking load. And that's another thing. Like, I never thought I was good enough for women. You know, I was chasing women my whole life and being the young fat kid that was never accepted, never had the girls. And I was always like, never. And then over time, I've got the most beautiful fucking wife. Like, she's so loyal. Like, good things just come, you know? So, and then I was sitting there and I wanted to get my story out there when I was PTing. I want to show everyone. Like, I had all my old drug photos when I was all fucked out and shit. And I just put up on my Insta before and after, and it just blew up. It just went fucking crazy. I had fucking a couple of thousand likes. People were messaging me, be like, how'd you get sober? How to do it? And a lot of people opened up to me. And I literally started mentoring people for free. Like, I'll just send them a little morning routine. I'm like, okay, what time are you going to wake up? And they would pick a time. Okay, let's wake up a time, stick to that time. You know, I would say, okay, jump in a cold shower. I'll say, write down some things you're grateful for. Think of little things like your health. You're not cancer free. Like, you got people in your life. You're not completely alone. You got someone, like, little things, plant little seeds for them and get them to think a bit positive. And then their goals and stuff like that, get them to write that down. If some of these people are men that haven't seen their kids in a while, some of these people are things like in that situation. And I'm like, I want you to look at a photo of your kid every morning and say, I'm going to make you proud today. Just like sort of like I did with my mum. You know, I'll think of my mum and I said, I'm going to make you proud, even though she wasn't there. And then I'll plant these seeds in these people's heads and I'll tell them to, you know, send me a photo of your journal in the morning. And I started sort of mentoring people for free like that. And then after a couple of weeks of helping people, they will message me. They're like, man, I've never been so happy in my life. Like, you've saved my life. Like, I was literally going to kill myself the other week. And you know what, because of these little things you showed me and just you messaging me every day and checking on me, like, you know what? And then over time, it's like, man, I get to go see my kid this weekend. And that was like fulfillment for me. I was like, this is what I want to do, you know, and I want to help people. And I started putting out like little feedback messages up on my Insta. And then it just more and more people hit me up. And next minute, I'm like mentoring like 40, 50 people for free They're all sending me photos, their list every morning, getting feedback messages every day. But then I was juggling that, coming home from a full day of PTing with an hour left, and I've got 50 messages on my phone. I'm like, I can't keep this up. I'm like, because I was sleeping, I was like working into sleep, and my missus like, you need to go to bed. I'm like, I've got to help. I've got to reply to these people, because I got obsessed with it because I'm like really got a lot out of it. And then I stopped.
Very much that's an addiction thing.
Yeah, I
like,
got obsessed.
Like you said it before, that like there's good and bad addictions, where what you've done now is you've transitioned from having like really negative addictions to you're putting something positive.
Yeah.
But it's still an addiction.
I know. But that's what I'm trying to show people, as I said at the start, when you channel that addiction to something good, even if you channel your addiction, okay, every day I'm going to be addicted to making my kid proud. I'm going to be addicted to doing everything right. Like, find your little purpose, find something you want to hyper focus on. If it's positive, hold on to it with both hands and run at it, and that's what I did. And then next minute, like all these people messaged me and said, oh, look, everyone, look, is it okay if I'll set you up on just like $40 a week, just send me $40, I'll hold you accountable every day. You know what? And everyone said yes. And now it means I've sort of started a little business. I had my training app on my phone. I've sort of had that going, and I linked a payment app to that, had my IT guy link everything together. So they'll sign up to this thing. And I have my app too, so I'd offer them workouts as well. So they had workouts, they had my accountability every day. And then obviously I pull back on my face-to-face PT. I'll just work till midday, and then afternoons I'll do my online. And then I got busier and busier, and then I'm like, I can't do face-to-face anymore. Like, I had to give that away, because in there you high five, good job, see you later, have a good day. I didn't really get much out of it. I got out of it. I helped a lot of people in there too. It was fun. But then when I'm changing lives on the other side, like, that's where I wanted to be, So then I went fully online, and I started getting my shit out there, and started talking to cameras, and started getting my message out there, my story out there, and it just, got a lot of traction, and I am where I am now. I'm just fucking helping people a lot. I've become super successful, made my mum proud, found love of my life, my missus. There's no negatives. I made my mum proud before she died. My mum passed, a year ago in like fucking 2 weeks. So December 15, a year ago, lost my mum. But we also got to say goodbye. I was there, got to say my goodbyes. And there was no regrets on my end. I was like, yes, I had regrets from when I was younger, but I did everything possibly I could from the day I went to jail to the day I got out and the day she died. Everything, I went in all in every day to make her proud. And I know she left this world knowing that I'm okay. And me and my brother and my dad became really close too through all this. So I always say Mum gave her life to open my eyes and save mine. And that's what I said. And no matter what, she never gave up on me. She was always there. She's the one person that come and visit me. My best mate, Mario came up and visited me. Everyone else, no visits in jail. I did 12 months in jail. No one visited me once. Half the people didn't even know I was gone. And I'm like, sweet as. And that just gave me more of a reason to get out and do my own thing. I was like, fuck every cunt. You know what I mean? I'm doing my own thing. I've got my family here. That's what I'm going to focus on. And then when I said goodbye to Mum, said goodbye to her, like I was there, it was sad, of course, but I was fulfilled, and I know that I'm going to keep making her proud when she's gone. And prior to that, I bought my dad his dream house. So I bought Dad a house on Bribey Island, like waterfront. He's set, he's up there, he's fucking retired my dad. So, which was a massive goal of mine too. So I bought him his dream house. I pay him every week. He's on like just one of my employees. He's just up there living his best life. But I did that because obviously he stood by me, but he gave up his life to look after Mum. Mum was, through her cancer, like she was shitting herself. She couldn't walk. Couldn't bathe herself. She couldn't do anything. When cancer takes over, like if you haven't seen cancer firsthand, it's fucked up. I look at a cancer battler now, and I've got so much respect for him. Before, like I had respect for him, don't get me wrong, but I was like, you get bored and, you sit in bed, you go to hospital, you get a bit sick. I didn't know the intensity of cancer. Like, and when you see a cancer survivor, that's now it's like, you're a fucking weapon, but no matter what, even watching Mum go through her shit, she never complained. She never cried. She never played victim. She never wanted sympathy. Okay. She always asked how I was. But through everything, she never showed any weakness. Even though her body was getting eaten away, couldn't even leave the house to go to a cafe because she would just diarrhea, she would just shit herself in public, which is degrading as fuck. And yeah, her body started to break down really bad, but Dad bathed her, stood by her side, was there for everything, wiped her fucking ass. Okay, he did everything, showered her every night, fed her, did everything. He gave up. And as a bloke, as a man, he was an Aussie builder. He's an old school fucking builder. Like if like as a man, if you're not tinkering with something, you're lost. So he gave up everything to go full-time care for her for years. And he gave up as a builder. He loved making shit, loved building houses. That was who he was. That was his passion. That was his purpose as a provider. And then he had to just become a fucking full-time carer. So I just said, I'm going to always look after, I told mum, I made mum a promise I'd always look after dad, Bill and my wife. I said, no matter what, none of them. And I'm just literally about to retire my brother. So my brother's going to work for me. He works an office job that he hates. I'm literally about to hire my brother in a couple of weeks, New Year, and he's going to work for me, do my video editing and shit. I'm going to pay him, match his pay. And he started crying to me on the phone the other day. And then it was funny. I rang dad the other day and I told him that I'm going to hire Bill. He's going to leave his job and he's going to work for me. He can just work from home, edit me a reel once a day and fucking go do whatever he wants. He do Muay Thai in the morning and go to gym in the afternoon. He's a simple kid. He loves it. So he's just going to live his best life. And he started crying. I told dad and he's like, your mother and I said this a couple of weeks before she passed, that we hope one day Bill works. Your mum said it. And I'm like, fuck, that's another thing that's make mum proud, you know. So I retired my whole family, pay for all their shit, you know what I mean? And that's by me giving back to them. And also just everything I'm doing now is just obviously raising a lot of awareness, helping change a lot of lives. And yeah, that's what I'm doing.
That's got to feel fucking pretty good.
Well, it gets my dick hard, bro. It's the best. It's the best feeling.
It's the best explanation of something good.
Yeah.
I love it every time. It gets my dick hard.
Proper, bro. It's awesome, but it gives me more drive to go even harder. And I just want to help as many people as I can. So I just get my message out there. I don't give a fuck what anyone thinks about me. I just keep doing my thing, and I know I'm helping people.
Good shit. We're going to have to call that.
Yeah, it does, bro.
Right at the end, but there's so much I want to talk to you about.
Yeah.
I think we'll have to get you back.
Yeah, done.
Oh, we're going to be running into you fucking everywhere. We ran into Hood Contender the other way.
IBC,
IBC.
We'll get all the events, bro.
Yeah. Just the same people.
Let's run it back sometime soon.
But whenever you want, ask away.
We'll drop the links to all this stuff there so you can go check out the stuff we didn't get into, which is the online stuff where he helps people deal with addiction and the whole process around it.
Yeah.
And then other than that, jump onto our website, betterblokeproject.org. We got a whole bunch of upcoming events and you can check out all the past podcasts too.
As always, be better.